Excuse me, one moment, stand by. Good afternoon, it's time for Strat-O-Matic Baseball. Spokane Steve Aquilong here with you today on a cool, cloudy, well, there is some sun out today in Spokane, about 37 outside. Hello, Ron McGrath. Welcome, sir. We're moving on to April 19th on the schedule today, since there are only 2 games on April 18th. This is the Washington Senators at the Baltimore Orioles. Washington comes in with a 1-3 record. The Orioles are 4-1. The 26-year-old Phil Ortega will be on the mound for Washington. He was a good pitcher for Washington for a couple of years. Came over from the Dodgers, along with Frank Howard, Ken McMullen, and Pete Rickard in the Claude Osteen trade. For Baltimore, the kid, 20-year-old Jim Palmer, on the mound for the Orioles. 15-10, 3.46 that year in 30 starts. Ortega, 3.92 in 31 starts. So the pitcher is pretty evenly matched, but I mean, the odds makers obviously would have to be favoring the Orioles in this game. They were the champions in real life in 1966. But, you know, this is Strat-O-Matic. The odds makers aren't always right, are they? Clearly that was on display in yesterday's game. I'll get to the starting lineups here. I'm finishing off the coffee. I should be on to tea by now, but there was a little bit of coffee left, and I'm having it. For Washington, batting leadoff and playing right field, Fred Valentine. Don Blasingame will be at second base today and bat second. Third baseman Ken McMullen hits third. Frank Howard will be in left field in the cleanup spot. Bob Chance will play first base and hit fifth. Don Locke, the center fielder, hit sixth. Mike Brumley will do the catching and hit seventh. Brumley represented by pitcher's hitting card number 3. That's pretty close to how bad he was that year. Ed Brinkman plays short and hits 8th, with Ortega hitting 9th. For the Orioles, heck, you guys could tell me their lineup from memory by now. It's the same lineup. It's Aparicio at short leading off. Kurt Blefary plays left field and bats second. Frank Robinson in the 3 spot plays right field. Brooks Robinson at third base hits cleanup. Boog Powell at first base hits 5th. Davey Johnson will bat 6th and play second base, with Paul Blair in center field hitting 7th. Andy Echeverren doing the catching and hitting 8th, and Palmer hitting 9th. And it got me thinking, in retrospect, you guys do this too, I'm sure. You look at the lineup selections compared to nowadays, or how you would do it, say, in a draft Strat-O-Matic league. And the Orioles are a good team to pick on because they were the champions. So, I mean, it's all just academic. I'm not going to pick on the Cubs, for God's sakes. But I do wonder, I mean, wouldn't you hit Powell 4th in between the 2 Robinsons? Every time I see this lineup, I wonder that. Why didn't they put the lefty in between the 2 righties? But they didn't think like that then, I guess. I mean, Hank Bauer was still the Baltimore manager. Earl Weaver had not brought in his brand of complex platooning yet. Anyway, something to think about, I guess. We're ready to go here as Valentine steps in, a switch hitter batting left-handed against Palmer. Palmer's ready to work. Umpire says, play ball. Got to warm up these dice a little bit. And Palmer winds and delivers the first pitch of the ball game on a 1-5. That's a grounder down to first base. That's going to be Powell. Flips to Jim Palmer covering, and there's one down. Starting for a little slow pace today, just kind of ease into it on a Tuesday afternoon. Wasn't that a song by the Moody Blues? I think it was. Here's Palmer's windup. He pitched the Blasingame, 3-8 against the righty, and that's a single to 10, where that line drive is going to find the glove of Davy Johnson on a 20. And quickly there are 2 down. And here's Ken McMullen now. Right-handed hitting third baseman. Palmer the windup. Here's the pitch to McMullen at 2-10 against the right-hander. That's a triple to 5, but he's going to settle for a long single as Blair corrals it quickly and gets it back in. So a 2-10, a triple to 5. The roll is a 15, and Ken McMullen is aboard with a 2-out single. And that'll bring up Big Frank Howard now. Howard always a threat to go deep. Palmer from the stretch. Here it is, a 3-8, swung on and missed strike 3. And yes, always a threat to go deep and always a threat to strike out. No runs ahead, a man left. At the end of half an inning, it's Washington 0, Baltimore coming to bat. As Ortega gets ready. Phil Ortega. I vaguely remember him. I can't say I remember him really well. He was on that, oh no, he was not. He was on Washington from 65 through 68. His last year was 69. He pitched a whopping 8 innings for the California Angels. That might be where I remember him from. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, he's ready to go. Here's Aparicio. Let's see if that light makes any difference. Okay, here's Aparicio now. Ortega, the windup. The pitch is a 5-6. That's going to be a ground ball down to shortstop. Brinkman's got it and throws him out. And there's 1 down. I can't really tell any difference when I switched off that overhead light. May have helped a little. Here's Bluffery now, left-handed hitting left fielder as Ortega into the windup. The pitch is a 6-9 against the left. He gets a triple 1-3, and look at that. Center field, it's down. And it's past Locke, rattling around. Bluffery now rounding second. He's headed for third. Here's Locke's throw, and Bluffery is in there with a 1-out triple. And listen to that crowd. 6-9, triple to 3, and he rolls the 3. And Bluffery's got a triple. And they're setting off the fireworks like it's a home run. With 1 down, Washington's going to pull the infield in. Here's the pitch to Frank Robinson on a 2-8. That's a plus grounder to short. That's going to be a single. So the infield in backfires. That's an RBI single for Frank Robinson. Bluffery scores, and it's 1-0 Orioles. Ortega a -1 hold. The catcher a +1, so he'd be a 13 not held. They will not hold him as Brooks Robinson comes to the plate. So a triple by Bluffery, an RBI single by Frank Robinson, and we're underway here. And here's Ortega from the stretch to Brooks Robinson on a 1-6, single 1-10. That line drive will find the glove of Brinkman. Robinson back to the bag, and there's 2 down. And that'll bring up the Boog. Ortega shakes one off now, gets one he likes, nods from the stretch. The pitch to Boog on a 2-6. That's going to be a single into right field. That's knocked down by Blasingame, but he has no play, and that'll be an infield single. Frank Robinson will have to stop at second on that one. And the Orioles have 3 hits already off of Ortega here. 1 run in, first and second, 2 down, and here's Davy Johnson now. Here's the pitch from Ortega on a 2-6 against the right-hander. That's going to be a single 2-base advance, and that's going to drive in Frank Robinson. Powell into third base. RBI single, Davy Johnson, and it's 2-0. So on a 2-6, a double asterisk single, and here's Paul Blair. 4 hits in the inning now. Ortega from the stretch on a 2-5. That's a base hit into right field. That's going to drive in Powell. Johnson into third base, and it's 3-0. RBI single, Paul Blair. Powell comes in to score. Davy Johnson takes third. 3-0, and here's Andy Etchebarren. And at this point, you got to be thinking that may be all the runs Jim Palmer's going to need. Of course, this is not the Cy Young Jim Palmer. This is the 20-year-old youngster. The pitch to Etchebarren on a 5-12 is a grounder to first base X. That's going to be Chance, a 4E30. So not out of the woods yet. Here is the play. On a 6, that's a single with a 1-base advance. So Chance can't make the play. That's ruled a base hit. That's going to drive in Johnson. Blair will hold at second. And Baltimore is all over Ortega here. It is 4-0 in the first. And here's Palmer as the Orioles bat around in the first inning. Here's the pitch. On a 4-5, fly to right field playable. That's Valentine. He's got it. But the Orioles bat around in the first for 4 runs on 6 hits and leave a pair. And at the end of 1, it is 4-0 Baltimore. I seem to have lost my sound. All right, top of the second. Chance, Locke, and Brumley for Washington. Palmer staked to a 4-run lead, gets the sign from Etchebarren, and here's the pitch. On a 1-8 fly to right field. Frank Robinson's right there and makes the catch. And here's Don Locke now. Right-handed hitting center fielder. Palmer the windup. The pitch to Locke is a 6-6, and he loses him, ball 4. So Don Locke with the walk. No threat to steal. And here's Brumley now. Brumley, a left-handed hitter, represented by pitcher's hitting card number 3. He's a weak 1-10 runner. Palmer from the stretch on a 1-7. That's going to be a ground ball to second. That's going to be 2. It's Johnson. He flips to Aparicio to first. Double play. So after the walk to Locke, the ground ball double play ends the inning. No runs, no hits, no one left on. And we go to the bottom of the second, 4-0 Orioles. And here's Ortega getting ready to work the bottom of the second. And it'll be Aparicio, just like it was in the first, as Baltimore batted around in the first inning. Scoring 4. Ortega the windup. The pitch to Aparicio on a 6-6. That's a tapper down to third. McMullen's got it and throws him out. Here's Blefary now. Blefary tripled in his first at bat. Ortega with the windup. The pitch is a 4-5 to the left-hander. That's a grounder to second base. That's going to be Blasingame. He's got it, throws to Chance, and there's 2 away. And here's Frank Robinson now. Frank singled in the first run of the ball game. The windup, the pitch to Frank is a 1-10. It's a deep fly ball to left field. Howard going back now, just shy of the track, makes the catch for the out. 1-2-3 go the Orioles as Ortega settles down a little bit in the second inning. After 2 complete, it's still 4-0. And Palmer getting ready to work the third. Brinkman, Ortega, and Valentine due up for Washington. All right, we're set now. Palmer staring in to get the sign. Here's the windup in the pitch. Brinkman on a 5-8 strikes him out. So Brinkman down on strike. Second K of the game for Jim Palmer. And here's Ortega. Ortega, a right-handed hitter. Here's the pitch from Palmer on a 3-7, a ground ball to second base. That'll be Davy Johnson. Scoops it up, sidearm flip to Boog Powell, and there's 2 away. And here's Valentine with 2 down. Switch hitter hitting left. Palmer winds and deals on a 4-6 to the lefty. Swung on and missed strike 3. And down goes Valentine on strikes. 1-2-3 go the Senators. Palmer's looking good out there. We go to the bottom of the third. 4-0 Baltimore. And hello, Mike C. How you doing this afternoon? Glad you could join us. This could be a one-sided ball game for sure. It's certainly starting out that way. Still early though, plenty of time. Plenty of time for some Strat-O-Matic drama. As Brooks Robinson gets set to lead off the bottom of the third, Ortega, the windup. The pitch to Brooks on a 2-6. That's a comebacker. Ortega fields it. Over to Chance, 1 away. And here's Boog Powell, singled in the first. The windup and the pitch. A 6-9 to the lefty. That's the triple to 3 again, and would you believe it? That's twice. The roll is a 1. That gets down in center, rattles around in the corner, off of the left field wall, ricochets oddly somehow back into center where it's picked up by Locke, and by this time, even Boog Powell manages to lumber into third with a triple. Oh, I had to make up something there. It's the only possible way I could see Boog Powell with a triple. Let's look at his cards. He had no triples. I bet he didn't have 2 in his career. So Powell with the 1-out triple. Trailing by 4 already, Washington will have to pull the infield in here. And here's Davy Johnson. Here's the pitch from Ortega on a 4-12 to the righty. It's a grounder to first base X. That's Chance. A 4-30. This is an adventure. On a 20, he makes the play on the infield in. Runner on third base hold. So they save themselves a run there with the infield in. That's going to go, takes it to the bag himself, holds the runner. 3-3-X, play made by Chance. There's 2 down. And here's Blair. Infield back, of course, now. Ortega into the windup. Pitch to Paul Blair is a 2-6. Struck him out. And a 1-out triple, and Ortega pitches out of it. No runs to hit. They leave Powell at third base. And after 3 complete, 4-0 Baltimore. And now, just to satisfy my own curiosity, I'm sure somebody can guess what I'm doing right now. Boog Powell hit a total of 11 triples in his career. A 17-year career. That's actually more than I thought it would be. Powell was extremely slow, was the point of it, of course. Okay, Palmer getting ready to go to work here in the fourth. Lazy day. I feel a little lethargic today. I'm trying to snap out of it. I've got my coffee. 4-0, Washington trails. It'll be Blasingame, McMullen, and Howard due up. Palmer into the windup. The pitch to Blasingame on a 3-6. It's a pop-up. That's going to be handled by Davey Johnson. And there's one down. Here's McMullen now. He's got the only hit for the Senators so far. A 2-out single in the first. Palmer the windup. And the pitch is a 6-4, catcher's card X. That's Echeverrin. He's a 2-E6. A fine catcher was Andy. Here's the roll on the play. On a 7, that's going to be a pop out to the catcher. So 2X that goes, and with 2 down, it'll be Frank Howard. So Palmer cruising along now, sailing along with a 4-run lead. The windup on the pitch to Howard is a 1-7, and he walks him. That's the second walk issued by Palmer. And that'll bring up Bob Chance. Chance flew out to right field in the second inning as Palmer stares in, and from the stretch, the pitch to Chance on a 4-7. Ball 4, he loses Chance. Oh my. How about that? Back-to-back walks. And the Senators have runners at first and second. There are 2 away, however. And it'll be up to Don Locke, who walked himself in the second inning. Palmer staring in now to get his sign. Here's the pitch to Locke on a 4-9. That's a base hit into right field, an open single. Howard can try to score on that. That does not seem too likely. Robinson's a +1, however. Howard an 8. 2 outs, a 10, +1, and an 11. And they're trailing by 4. 2 outs to score. If it was close, I would normally go at 55%, but trailing by 4, they don't need 1. They need a big inning, so he's going to hold him up. Unfortunately, Brumley's the hitter, but that's the way it is. Brumley, a left-handed hitter. Here's Palmer's pitch. That's a 2-8, struck him out. And Brumley proves to be about as worthless as a pitcher's hitting card number 3 could be expected to be. No runs to hit. The Senators leave the sacks full. And we go to the bottom of the fourth, still 4-0 Baltimore. Ortega settled down, though, after that rocky first inning. They could get him a little support. We might actually have a ball game here. Echeverrin, Palmer, and Aparicio due for Baltimore. Ortega ready to go now as Andy steps in from the right side. The sign from Brumley, and here's the pitch. On a 3-5, swung on and missed strike 3. Down goes Echeverrin. And here's Palmer now. Right-handed hitter, one hitter's card. He does have end power, interestingly. Here's the pitch. On a 5-7, swung on and missed strike 3. And that's 3 Ks in a row for Ortega. And that'll bring up Aparicio, 0 for 2 today. Here's the pitch by Ortega. It is a 5-6 grounder to shortstop. Brinkman into the hole, plants and throws across in time. 1, 2, 3 go the Orioles. Ortega has settled down nicely, and after 4 complete, Baltimore 4, Washington nothing. We go to the fifth, Palmer getting ready to work. Palmer's only allowed 2 hits. It'll be Brinkman, the pitcher's spot, and Valentine. Let's check Ortega for endurance if we're thinking about a hitter. He's an S7. Probably a little early to be hitting for the pitcher. Here's Brinkman now to lead things off. A 1-9 against Palmer. Swung on and missed strike 3. And that's twice today Palmer has K'd Brinkman. And it will be Ortega, right-handed batter. Palmer gets the sign from Andy Echeverry. Here is the pitch on a 2-5. Swung on and missed strike 3. And now Palmer has struck out the last 3 batters he's faced. For Palmer, that's strikeout number 6. And here's Valentine with 2 away. And here's the pitch to Jim Palmer. It's a 2-4 high fly ball to right field. Back goes Frank Robinson to the track, to the wall. It's gone. Home run, Fred Valentine, and Washington's on the board. So a 2-4, homer to 5. The rule is a 2. Fred Valentine just does get that one over the fence, and it's 4-1. For Valentine, I gotta look this up now. That's Valentine's 3rd home run of the season. And that would put him on the leaderboard. Here's Blasingame now as Palmer winds and deals. A 2-10 fly to right field. That's Frank Robinson right there to make the catch, and that'll retire the side. Washington gets a run on the Valentine home run, and it's now 4-1 Baltimore as we move to the bottom of the 5th. And welcome, Jeffrey. And Jeffrey says, go Nats. Well, not quite yet, in 1966 anyway. What did this Washington team become? This is the team that became the Twins, right? And then the other one became the Texas Rangers. Or is this the one that became the Texas Rangers? Yeah, no, this is the one that became the Texas Rangers. The Twins were already in business by 66. The first Washington Senators became the Minnesota Twins. These Washington Senators would become the Texas Rangers, who would not win a World Series until this year. How about that for tying it all together? Here's Blefary now to lead off the bottom of the 5th. Ortega the pitch. On a 1-5, he draws the walk. Leadoff walk to Kurt Blefary, no threat to run. And it's Frank Robinson coming to the plate. Brooks Robinson on deck now. Ortega from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Frank, a 6-12. That's a fly ball to center. That's playable. For Locke. Locke's right there to make the put out. 1 away, and here's Brooks Robinson. Brooks 0 for 2 today. Ortega stares in to get the sign from the stretch. Pitch to Brooks is a 6-8. That's a fly to center field. That's Locke again. He ranges to his right and makes the catch for the out. And with 2 away, Boog Powell will be the batter. Powell tripled his last at bat, and man, wasn't that something to see. His helmet fell off. Oh my God, it was a sight to behold. And here's the pitch to Boog. It's a 4-7 to the lefty. Swung on and missed strike 3. Ortega fans Boog. No runs, no hits, a man left after 5 complete here. It is Baltimore 4, Washington 1. And as Palmer gets ready to warm up here for the 6th, I'll have a little bit of this coffee. Just the tail end of the morning coffee. Barely lukewarm at this point. It will be McMullen, Howard, and Chance for Washington as they try to get something going against the 20-year-old Jim Palmer. Palmer, the windup. Pitch to McMullen on a 2-8. That's a comebacker. Palmer knocks it down, now picks it up Takes a step towards first, throws to Boog for the out. Here's Frank Howard. Howard 0 for 1 with a walk. Palmer the windup. The pitch to Big Frank, a 4-10. That's a fly to center, shallow. Blair coming, still coming. Now he's there and makes the catch. And that'll bring up Bob Chance with 2 away. 0 for 1 with a walk. Palmer the windup. The pitch to Chance is a 1-8, fly to right field. Frank Robinson barely has to move. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Palmer. Okay, shameless plug time now. If you haven't caught Jeffrey Guterman's Sports Network, the Strat-O-Matic Sports Network, his name's right there in the chat room. Check it out. 1969 replay, 1972 football as well. And here's Davy Johnson to lead off the bottom of the 6th for the Orioles. Ortega has settled down nicely after that rocky first inning. The windup and the pitch to Johnson on a 6-11. That's going to be a 2-hopper down to short. Brinkman's got it. Steady as they come, throws Johnson out. Here's Paul Blair now. Blair, 1 for 2. Ortega, the windup and the pitch is a 6-2 to the right-hander. Fly ball to left field, that's playable for Howard. He's got it, and there's 2 down. And here's Echebarren. Echebarren 1 for 2. Ortega the windup. Here's the pitch on a 1-8. It's a high fly ball to left field. Back goes Howard. That's off the wall. Echebarren's going to be in with a double. Let's check that again. That's a 1-8. Home run to 8. It's an 18. That's right. It's a double. 2-out double. Jim Palmer, the batter. A one-hitter's card. He does have end power. I say that's kind of interesting for a one-hitter's card to have end power. In fact, I'm going to look at that again. I have to see it to believe it. Yeah, sure enough, 1 NR. All right, here's the pitch. That's a 2-5. Swung on and missed strike 3, and down goes Palmer for the 2nd time today. No runs, a hit, a man left after 6 complete. It is Orioles 4, Senators 1. Palmer getting ready to go now. Locke, Brumley, Brinkman. If anybody gets on, that's probably going to be it for Ortega, you'd have to think. Here's Locke. Palmer winds and deals. It is a 4-6, and he walks him. So Locke has been on all 3 times today. 2 walks and a single. Palmer in S7. Maybe Baltimore better get somebody loose. They're going to get Eddie Watt loose. And Washington really needs to hit for Brumley here. I can't take any more of this Brumley. Let's see who their other catchers were. What did they have? They had Camille, Casanova. Casanova did most of the catching. He's the better defensive catcher. He doesn't necessarily have to hit, though. Jim King's going to hit. Casanova will come on to catch. So that's how this is going to work, is pinch hitting for Brumley. Jim King. Casanova, 2E8 -1. Much better defensive catcher. Okay, so King against Palmer here. Man on first, nobody out. From the stretch, The pitch to King is a 2-8, and that's a high fly ball to right field. Back goes Frank Robinson to the track, to the wall. It's gone. Jim King with a pinch hit 2-run home run. Holy crap. It's 4-3 all of a sudden. So Gil Hodges pulling all the right strings, pushing all the right buttons. He brings Jim King off the bench to hit for Brumley on a 2-8, a homer 1 through 9. The roll is a 7, and we've got a 4-3 ball game. How about that? Here's Brinkman now. One more hitter walk will fatigue Palmer. Eddie Watts ready. Here's Palmer's pitch to Brinkman on a 6-4. That's catcher's card X. Etchebarren, fine defensive catcher at a 2-6. Here's the play. On a 2, that's a pop out to the catcher. Etchebarren makes the play. Oh, God, now this close to the game, I hate to take Ortega out, but it's the 7th inning. They have to. Don't you think? They really have to. Ortega worked 6. He got lit up in the first inning. Other than that, he was good. 6 hits, 4 runs in the first. Then only 2 hits the rest of the way. 8 hits. 4 runs. He walked 1 and struck out 5. And they've got Bleffery, Robinson, Powell. In real life, they use Lyons, Humphreys. They're going to bring Humphreys in. Bob Humphreys will get loose. And we need a hitter. Only, well, no, there's 2 outs. I was going to say only 1 out. No, there's 2 outs. Palmer's still out there. Willie Kirkland's going to come off the bench and bat for the pitcher. And once again, Strat-O-Matic provides drama. The Orioles sailing along 4-0 through 4, 4-1 through 6, and now it's 4-3. 2 away. Here's Kirkland. Palmer winds and deals on a 1-4, and that's a high fly ball to right field. Back goes Robinson. Can you believe this? Willie Kirkland has just tied the game with a pinch hit home run. 2 pinch hit home runs in this inning for Washington. 1-4-14. The roll is a 2. And Gil Hodges catches lightning in a bottle twice in the same inning with his pinch hitting selections. First, it was King with a pinch hit 2-run shot. And now Willie Kirkland has just tied this game with a pinch hit home run of his own. And we're all locked up at 4, and Palmer's fatigued. Oh my God, this game is insane. So now here comes Hank Bauer. That's all for Palmer. He hands the ball. He's not at all happy with himself. Oh, you can see the way he's walking back to the dugout. He is not one. He's a very upset young man right now, but he will have many days ahead. Don't worry about Jim. Kirkland comes through. Look at this card, too. There's not much there, but there's the homers. And he found them. Holy cow. Eddie Watt's going to come in. So Palmer goes 6 2/3. Five hits, but 3 of them were home runs. Valentine in the 5th, King, and Kirkland here in the 7th. He walked 4. Struck out 6. Oh my goodness. And here's Watt. Watt, a righty. 146 innings as a starter reliever. 3.83. 4 saves. And here's Fred Valentine, who homered in his last at bat. And Cards Pirates 1969. I caught most of the Cards game. I can't remember if I saw the Pirates or not. Okay, it's Valentine against Watt. 2 out in the 7th, all tied up, nobody on. The windup. The pitch to Valentine on a 2-6. That's a base hit into right field. And the Senators have found their hitting shoes here in the 7th inning. Valentine will have to be held on. Watt's a 0. Echebarren's a 0. That'll make him a 15. He's the go-ahead run. He's going to try for the lead. He needs a 3 through a 6. 9. He does not establish a good lead, and it'll be up to Blasingame. The pitch from Watt on a 3-8, and that's a single to 10, but that line drive finds the glove of Davy Johnson, and that will retire the side. Holy cow, what an inning. 3 runs to tie it on 3 hits, a pair of pinch hit home runs. And I've got to write that in. That this is Kirkland's homer somehow. Kirkland and King, for both of them, their first home runs of the season. And we go to the bottom of the 7th, all knotted up at 4. Humphreys coming on to work for Washington, the righty. 2.82 in 112 innings of relief. He, like Watt, also pitched in this game in real life. And it will be the top of the order for the Orioles. Aparicio, Blefary, and Frank Robinson. And once again, we've got a tense game. I didn't see that one coming. After the first inning, I thought the Orioles were just going to blow this thing wide open. And Humphreys ready to work now. Aparicio standing in from the right side. Humphreys, the sign from Casanova now, and here's the pitch. On a 3-7, grounder to short, that's going to be Brinkman. Scoops it up and throws him out. So Aparicio grounds out to his opposite number. And here's Blefary. Blefary 1 for 2 with the walk. Humphreys the windup. Pitch to Blefary on a 1-2, a liner, speared by Chance. So a line drive right into the glove of the first baseman, and quickly there's 2 down. And here's Frank Robinson, Triple Crown winner. 316, 49, 122. Here's the pitch. 1-7. That's ripped into the left center gap. Locke chasing it down. Frank Robinson rounding. He's in with a 2-out double. On a 1-7, 1-1. 2-out double for Frank Robinson, and here's Brooks. Frank, the go-ahead run out there, but there are 2 down. Humphreys from the stretch. Pitch to Brooks on a 4-5, fly to right field. That's playable for Valentine. He's got it, and the side is retired. No runs, a hit, 1 left on. After 7 complete, a 4-4 tie. Watt coming out for the 8th. It'll be McMullen, Howard, and Chance. Watt into the windup. Here's the pitch to McMullen now. It's a 5-6 to the righty. Fly to left field. Bleffery drifts over and makes the catch for the out. Frank Howard 0 for 2 with the walk. Eddie Watt now with the pitch. On a 5-5, he walks him. Pitching carefully to big Frank Howard, he issues the base on balls, and Howard's aboard. Very slow, of course, but we're not going to take him out of the game. Not a chance. Speaking of chance, God, here's another guy who's just awful, but he was the starter, and he's a left-handed hitter. He's going to hit. Watt, 2-6. Look at that. It's a single to 9, but that ground ball is going to find Powell, who goes down to Johnson, back to first, double play. Oh my God, a 2-6 single to 9, 17, a ground ball A. So that's a 3-6-3, retires the side. No runs, no hits, no one left on. Bottom of the 8th in a 4-4 ball game. Humphreys is coming back out. It will be Powell, Johnson, and Blair for Baltimore. Boog Powell, 2 for 3 today. Single, triple, struck out his last time up. That was all against Ortega, however. And here's Humphreys facing him for the first time. Here's the pitch to the Boog, 1-8, swung on and missed strike 3. So Humphreys fans Boog. And here's Davy Johnson. Johnson 1 for 3 today. Singled in a run and then scored himself in that wild first inning. And here's the pitch from Humphreys on a 5-8. Swung on and missed strike 3. And Humphreys is bringing some gas now. 88 strikeouts in 112 innings. Humphreys was a strikeout pitcher. Oh, not by the relief pitchers of today's standards, you know, as 11 Ks per 9 or whatever. But for that period of time, that was good. And here's Blair. On a 4-3, grounder to first base X, that's the Boog. A 3E17. And here is the play. On a 9, that's the error range. So on a 17, it's a roll of a 5, and he boots it. It's an error on... No, it's not Boog. I'm sorry, that's Chance. It's a 4E30. I beg your pardon. 4E30. Well, he's going to boot it no matter what, isn't he? The roll is a 5. Yep, that's a one-base error. Any which way you slice it. So error on Chance and the Senators, and Blair's aboard. Blair will have to be held on. He's an asterisk 15. And here's Echebarren now. Humphreys from the stretch. The pitch to Andy is a 6-8, tapper down to short. That's Brinkman. He'll go the short way to second, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, a man left. There was an error. After 8 innings, it is 4-4 here in Baltimore. Watt coming back out. Watt due to lead off the bottom of the 9th, so this will be his last inning of work regardless. For Washington, Locke, Casanova, and Brinkman due up. If anybody gets on, that'll be all for Humphreys. He'll have to be hit for. So here's Don Locke now. Singled and walked twice. He's been on all 3 times as Eddie Watt goes into the windup. The pitch to Locke is a 2-6, and he walks again. So another leadoff walk to Don Locke, and say that fast 3 times. No threat to run, and here's Casanova now. They already hit for their catcher once. They need Casanova in there, right-handed hitter. Watt from the stretch. That's a 2-11. Grounder back to the pitcher. Watt has it, He fires down to shortstop Aparicio to first, not in time, and that'll be a force play. Lock is forced. That goes 1-6. And Casanova's aboard. And here's Brinkman now. Brinkman's 0 for 3 today. Brinkman known more for his glove than for his bat. And Watt from the stretch comes to the plate on a 4-3, and that's a grounder back to the pitcher X. A 4-E-10 is Eddie Watt. And here is the play. On a 13, that's the error range. So we've got an E10 on the roll of an 8, and that's a ground ball A. That's going to be a double play. We'll just score that 1-6-3. You could do it as long as the pitcher starts it. You could put anything in there. So the double play ends the inning. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. And we go to the bottom of the ninth, still deadlocked at 4. That'll keep Humphreys in the game. He's going into his 3rd inning of work. He is a relief 3 as far as endurance goes. And Baltimore will start off with a pinch hitter for Eddie Watt. So Watt worked 2 1/3. Only allowed 1 hit. He walked a couple. Did not strike out a batter. He had 2 double plays turned behind him. In fact, both times he walked somebody, they turned a double play for him. Drabowski will get loose in the Baltimore pen. Mo Drabowski. Watt is done. Now they need a batter to lead off the bottom of the ninth, all locked up at 4. Against Humphreys. What do they have? They don't have a whole lot. Maybe Held. If you're looking for a left-handed hitter, it would be Snyder. That makes the most sense. Russ Snyder is going to come off the bench here. He's the only left-handed hitter on the bench. And he'll bat here for Eddie Watt. So the pinch hitter is Russ Snyder. Left-handed batter. Good hitter that year. He hit .306 in 373 at-bats. So Snyder to lead it off in the bottom of the ninth. Left, left, then 2 righties and a lefty. Dick Lyons begins to throw for Washington. But right now, it's Humphreys against Snyder. Here's the windup, and here is the pitch on a 3-7 fly to right field. That's going to be playable for Valentine. He's there and makes the catch, and there's 1 down. Snyder retired on the fly out to right. And here's Aparicio. Humphreys the windup. The pitch, a 1-7. That's a fly to left. Howard barely has to move. And fortunately for him, because he does not move all that well at a 5-E5. He makes the put out, and there's 2 down. And here's Bleffery. Humphreys, the windup. The pitch to Bleffery is a 6-7. That's second base X. That's going to be Blasingame. He's a 4-E14. Here's the play. On an 11, that goes to the error range. On a 14, a roll of a 4. He boots it. Error Blasingame. So E4, that's the second error for Washington. That puts Bleffery aboard with 2 down. And that'll bring the real-life Triple Crown winner, Frank Robinson, to the plate. Line still throwing in the Washington pen. Gil Hodges is not budging from the bench. It's Humphreys. Humphreys from the stretch. to Frank on a 2-9. Struck him out. Oh my goodness. So Humphreys ends his day with a flourish. Fanning Robinson, no runs, no hits, a man left, and we're going to extra innings. How about that? Humphreys will be pinch hit for, so his day is done. He worked 3 innings. Only allowed 1 hit. No walks, 3 Ks. No runs. So Humphreys, the pitching hero here for the Senators. And Baltimore would have... Do they want to bring in Lines, or do they want a right-hander? They could go with Cox or Klein. Klein was their closer. They're probably going to... Boy, I don't know. They would go with... Other than Powell, it's all right-handed hitters. I think they got to go with Cox. So Casey Cox will start throwing for Baltimore. I'm sorry, for Baltimore. Start throwing for Washington. Grabowski's already been announced for the Orioles. And before we get too deep into extra innings, I'm going to take a short break, make myself a quick cup of tea, and use the facilities. So hang in there with me. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back shortly. All righty. And we are back. Grabowski coming on in the 10th for Baltimore. 4-4 after 9. Let's recap briefly what happened here. The Orioles, with 6 hits and 4 runs in the first inning, jumped all over Phil Ortega. He settled down. Washington got 1 back in the 5th on a home run by Valentine, his 3rd of the season, moving him into a 6-way tie for the home run lead, I believe. But the real action occurred in the 7th inning. After a walk to Locke, King pinch hit with a 2-run blast. 1 out later, Kirkland came off the bench with another pinch hit home run to tie the ball game. And that's where we are at as we go to extra innings here. Grabowski, pretty much the ace of the Oriole pen. 96 innings of relief, 2.81, 7 saves. Stu Miller was actually the saves leader, but Grabowski was the workhorse. Humphreys will be pinch hit for, obviously. That's already been announced. Cox will come on. So now they need a batter against Mo Grabowski. The only lefty they have remaining. Well, no, they've got Nen, and they've got Savarin. Savarin's actually pretty good. We're going to go with Bob Savarin. Savarin appeared in this game in real life as well. That's just a suggestion, however. All right, it's Savarin. So pinch hitting for Watt, Bob Savarin, the switch hitter. He'll be batting left-handed against Grabowski. Grabowski gets his sign from Echeverria. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch to Savarin on a 1-10. It's a double 1-6, but that's going to be caught by the line by Frank Robinson. The roll of a 20, so the fans getting a little anxious on that one, but Frank makes the catch and Savarin's retired. And here's Valentine now. 2 for 4 today. He's got a home run already this game. Here's the pitch to Valentine. That's going to be a 3-6. Swung on and missed strike 3. Down goes Valentine. There's 2 away. And that'll bring up Blasingame, the left-handed hitting second baseman. He's 0 for 4 today. Here's the pitch from Grabowski. On a 1-7, swung on and missed strike 3. Grabowski looking good. Fans 2 sets them down in order here in the 10th. We go to the bottom of the 10th. 4-4. Casey Cox will come on and pitch for Washington. Cox a righty. It'll be Brooks Robinson, Powell, Davy Johnson. Here's Brooks now. Cox, the sign from Casanova. Here's the pitch on a 1-8. That's a base hit up the middle. And Brooks Robinson is aboard with a leadoff single. The winning run is on base. Robinson no threat to run. And here's the boog. Jeffrey, hope this game goes 20. I saw your long one this morning. Not live. I wasn't up yet. But I saw the replay. That was a hell of a ball game. Man on first, nobody out. Here's the boog. Cox from the stretch. That's a 2-5. And that's going to be a single to center. That's an open single. Brooks can try to advance on that. Locke's a -2, so I don't think he's going to. A 1 through 10, that would make him an 8. He's going to hold up at second. And the Orioles are in business now. First and second. Nobody out. Here's Dave Johnson. I was thinking bunt at first, but Davey's a D bunter, so that doesn't seem like a good option at all. He's going to hit away. So Cox greeted rudely by back-to-back singles here to lead off the bottom of the 10th. And now here's Davy Johnson, and Cox from the stretch delivers to the plate on a 1-9, and he strikes him out. Cox fans Davy Johnson, and there's one down. And here's Blair. Blair 1 for 4 today. Cox from the stretch. Runners take their lead. The pitch to Blair on a 3-6 grounder to third base, B. That's going to be a force play. Brooks will go into third. That's going to go 5-4. Powell is forced. Echeverria's aboard. First and third, 2 down. Or Blair's aboard, 2 down, and Echeverria the batter. Blair, an asterisk 15. Cox does not have a good hold. He's a +3. Casanova a -1, so that's 2, 17. Blair 1 through 15 held on. Blair will have to be held on. Actually, no, he won't, because his run doesn't mean anything. If he wants to steal, let him steal. It's the runner on third that matters, and that's Brooks Robinson. So Blair, the 15-2, he's got a free lead, 1-17 if he wants to go. But again, his run doesn't mean a thing. It's up to Echebarren. And here's the pitch from Cox. And that is a 1-7. Swung on and missed strike 3, and we're going to 11. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left on. And how about that? Robinson and Powell single to open the 10th, and then Cox shuts the door. Grabowski will lead off the bottom of the 11th. So this will be his last inning. Let's see if hopefully we can see these cards now. I may have to move this over a little bit. We'll see. No, that's visible. Okay. Grabowski goes out for his second inning of work. It'll be the heart of the Washington order, McMullen, Howard, and Chance. Grabowski, the windup. The pitch to McMullen on a 1-7. Swung on and missed strike 3, and Mo has fanned 3 consecutive batters now. And here's Big Frank Howard. 0 for 2. He's walked twice. Grabowski, the windup. The pitch to Howard on a 4-4, fly to center field X. That's Paul Blair. Blair, a 2-E5. Here's the play on a 10. It goes to the error range. It's an E5 on a roll of a 6, and Blair flags it down. So a fine play by Paul Blair. That's the second out of the inning. And it'll be Bob Chance. Left-handed batter. Grabowski winds. The pitch to Chance on a 1-7. Swung on and missed strike 3. 1-2-3. 2 flawless innings by Grabowski with 4 strikeouts. And we go to the bottom of the 11th. Still knotted at 4. Grabowski worked 2 innings. He'll be done regardless. Either Baltimore will walk it off, or there will be a new pitcher, because they're going to pinch hit for him here leading off the bottom of the inning. Grabowski, 2 flawless innings. He struck out 4, walked nobody. 6 up, 6 down. We'll see what happens. Here's the batter. They're going to announce the batter, I should say. Casey Cox comes on. Actually, he already came on. Cox comes out for his second inning of work. Baltimore will send up a hitter. They've got Bob Johnson. Held or Johnson, that's what I'm thinking. It'll be Woody Held. They're going to send up Woody Held. They don't have a left-handed batter left on the bench. So Woody Held will be the batter here. He's going to bat for Grabowski as Cox enters his second inning of work. All locked up at 4 here, bottom of the 11th. Here's Woody Held now, pinch hitting for the pitcher to lead things off for Baltimore. And here's the pitch from Casey Cox on a 1-9. Swung on and missed strike 3. Down goes Held. That's the 3rd K for Cox. And we're back to the top of the order with Luis Aparicio. Tough day for Luis. He's 0 for 5. He can redeem himself right here, though. Well, that's what's throwing me. I didn't write those in. Okay, here's Aparicio. The pitch from Cox on a 6-9. High fly ball to left field. He's a weak, but that's okay because it's a double. Howard can't get it. And Aparicio, 0 for 5, comes through with a 1-out double. And he's fast. Aparicio's got wheels, and that's the winning run at second base. 1 down. Bleffery, Frank Robinson, Oh my goodness, what else do they have? Cox is going to pitch. Here's the pitch to Bleffers on a 2-8 grounder to first base. That's going to be Chance. He'll take it to the bag himself. Runner has to hold. So Aparicio cannot advance on that play. And with 2 down, it's Frank Robinson. And they're going to put him on. I know. But wouldn't you? So intentional walk to the eventual Triple Crown winner in real life, and it'll be up to Brooks Robinson. Brooks 1 for 5 today. Cox comes set from the stretch. Here's the pitch to Brooks. That's a 2-8 grounder to short. That's playable for Brinkman. He throws him out, and we're going to the 12th. No runs a hit, 2 left on. And it's all knotted up at 4. And let's see what we got coming up here. They got the righty. It's all righties. God, Baltimore had a good deep bullpen, didn't they? Dick Hall's going to come on for Baltimore. I was thinking about Stu Miller. But they're going to hold Miller back. They're going to bring in Dick Hall. He's a good pitcher too. Lott, Casanova, and Brinkman due here for Washington in the 12th inning. Oh my God, this is shades of the Jeffrey Guterman game this morning. How many innings was that, Jeffrey? You were about ready to have a position players pitch, it looked like to me. Running out of players. 2 catchers caught 14 or 15 innings, something like that. I knew you were getting ready to rest the catchers, and then it finally came to an end. Okay, 12th inning, 4-4. Don Locke to lead things off. Dick Hall's ready to go now. There's the windup, the pitch to Locke on a 2-9. Swung on and missed strike 3. So Hall, one of a number of arms in this Baltimore pen that just throws gas. And here's Paul Casanova now, the catcher. He was not the starting catcher. He came in here. Here's the pitch from Hall. That's a 6-6. Swung on and missed strike 3. So Hall picks up right where Grabowski left off. And it's Brinkman now with 2 down. Hall the windup. Pitch to Brinkman on a 6-5. Fly to right field. Playable for Frank Robinson. He's got it. 1-2-3 for Dick Hall. And we're going to the bottom of the 12th. Still tied at 4. And Cox has worked 2. He'll be leading off the next inning if we were to get that far. I'm thinking about a series of moves here. I could bring in Lines to pitch to Powell, but then you're going to have to bring in another righty for Johnson and Blair. At that point, you're going to be out of pitchers that are any good. You'll be down to the closer Klein. And then you're going to have Segui or Hannon out there. I think it's in the best interests of Washington to get another inning out of Cox, if possible. He's already worked 2. He's done a good job. It'll be Powell, Johnson, and Blair for Baltimore. Cox ready to go. Here's the windup and the pitch to Booth. That's a 3-5. Forget about it. High fly ball to right field, and Baltimore just walked it off on a Boog Powell home run. And the crowd's going crazy. 3-5, no doubt about it. He got all of that one. Boog Powell, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cow, just listen to the fans. Boog Powell has just walked it off from the bottom of the 12th with a home run way back into the right field seats. Casey Cox, 4 hits. Tried to sneak a fastball by the Boog. What a ball game. Cox only walked 1, and that was intentionally. He struck out 3. Cox is the loser. Dick Hall picks up the win in relief. For Hall, for Cox, that's his first decision. He's 0-1. And for Hall, it's his first decision. He's 1-0. Cox is 0-1. For Boog, that's Boog's 3rd home run of the season. That ties him now with a bunch of people with 3. We have, I could look at it, I guess. There's 6 American League and 3 National League players now tied with 3 home runs apiece. 5-4 is the final for Baltimore. 5 runs on 13 hits, no errors. Washington, 4 runs, only 6 hits, and they made 2 errors. And there's your final from Baltimore. The Orioles win in dramatic fashion, 5-4 in 12 innings. Player of the game? It's got to be the Boog, doesn't it? 4 for 6, a homer, a triple, the game-winning homer. Some fine pitching performances. Humphreys, 3 one-hit innings for Washington. The Baltimore bullpen was absolutely flawless. Watt, Drabowski, and Hall. I can see how this team won so many games. That bullpen is sick. They've got everything. They've got starting, they've got the lineup, they play great defense, they've got a deep bullpen. Well, that'll do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll tell you what's up next on the schedule. Tomorrow's game will be Detroit Tigers at Boston Red Sox, so please join me for that, 2:15 Pacific time. In the meantime, this is Spokane Steve saying thank you all very much and have a very pleasant evening. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.